Okay, the telescope is aligned on Arcturus. We've already centered it. So now we want to go look at something else, because even though Arcturus is fun, lots of other stuff. So we're going to go to Jupiter. In order to use the sky to do this, it's real easy. You press the F key, which brings up the Find menu. Okay, there's a bunch of things here. There's drop-down boxes. I'm going to use the menu. So it's on, the top one is planets, sun, moon. So I've got it on planets. I'm going to select Jupiter. That'll also show up down here in the Find window. So I'll click Find. It'll bring up another window. It'll list Jupiter and some information about it. If you want to, you can scroll up and down and look at this. Now, I want the telescope to move to the location where Jupiter is, but I also want to make sure it's not going to crash into the ladder. So I'm going to go over to the ladder and pop it back up on its wheels. I've got a fair idea where Jupiter is. It's going to be off here to the south and the west. So I'm going to move the ladder to the north. And I'm not going to panic, because if it does look like it's going to crash into the ladder, I can stop the telescope from either using the hand controller or from the computer itself. So let's go ahead and do the movement. In order to go or make the telescope move, there's a green telescope icon on the bottom of the Find Object window in the information. So I'm going to click on the green telescope. It's going to come up and say Confirm Slew. I say, yeah, I want to do it, so I'm going to click OK. Now, after I click OK, the telescope's going to start moving, and another window is going to come up that allows me to cancel the slew at any time. So it'll stop the telescope. The good thing about this, though, is I can halt the telescope, move the ladder, and then I can restart it, because the telescope and the computer are still synchronized. So the computer still knows where it's pointing, even if I stop the motion halfway through the motion, through the move to the new object. I can do this either using one of the buttons on the hand controller or using the controls on the telescope. So, or on the computer. So I'm going to demonstrate that with the computer. I'm going to start it up and then I'm going to stop it. So I'm going to confirm the slew, click OK. Telescope slewing. Now it's going okay, but I want to stop it, so I'm just going to click on the Cancel GoTo. Now, the crosshairs shows where the computer is now pointing the telescope. Now, if this was actually going to hit the ladder or something like that, I can now take this time to move it. The telescope is not moving where the ladder is, so we're safe to continue. So, to continue, I'm still on the Jupiter Object Information window. I'm just going to click on the green telescope again. Confirm slew, and this time I'm going to let it slew all the way. Okay, the telescope has gone ahead and slewed over to Jupiter. However, the dome's in the way, so we can't see anything. In order to move the dome, the control panel above the computer screen has a right and left dome movement button. Right now, the dome is left of where the telescope's pointing, so I'm going to press the right motion, and it'll start moving. Okay, once I release the button, the dome will stop moving, and if I need to fine-tune it, I can go back and forth, left and right motions, until I've centered the shutter opening with the telescope. But right now, I did a pretty good job. The shutter and the telescope are looking in the right direction together, so now we can see if we can look through the telescope and see Jupiter. Okay, so the telescope's pointing at Jupiter. We've got the ladder moved where I can get up to the eyepiece. I'm going to take the hand controller with me in case I want to make any fine motions or fine corrections. Now, one of the things that the Sky software allows us to do is, just in case we bump the scope or something and Jupiter isn't correctly aligned or centered in the eyepiece, I can recenter it with the hand controller, and then I can go back to the sky and resync. So again, it'll correct for any errors introduced in the movement. So I'm going to go up to the eyepiece, and Jupiter 4 moons is almost exactly centered, but I'm going to use the controls. I'm going to slow down the slew rates to the next to the last one, fine-tune the focus. Okay, I centered Jupiter in the eyepiece, which means I had to make a slight correction. So what I want to do now is go back and resynchronize the software with the new adjustments. So go ahead and wiggle the mouse so you wake up the sky. Now, in here, we've had the general menu from the information window, and the green telescope was the move to or slew to the new object. However, now what I want to do is just resynchronize the computer coordinates with the telescope. In order to do that, I go to the telescope menu, and there's a little button up here that just says Sync. Okay, make sure that the object is what we're looking at. In this case, it says object Jupiter. If I click on the sync, it says confirm sync, and what it's going to do is when I click OK, it's going to rematch Jupiter's coordinates with where the telescope is pointing, so we've got a little bit better accuracy. So I click OK. It'll beep at me once, and then the crosshairs will move back to Jupiter. So now we've resynced and we have a little bit more accuracy.